it feels to struggle in math. I was just like you. But with hard work, I learned it. Come on, learn math with Teacher Rochelle. Adding and subtracting fractions and mixed fractions without and with regrouping.
Let us try this.
Which of these is a proper fraction? Yes, it's 1/2. Remember, a proper fraction is a fraction in which the numerator is less than the denominator. It is less than 1. Examples: 1/2, 3/4, 10/15, 6/11. Which of these is an improper fraction? Very good. It's 15/3. Remember, an improper fraction is a fraction in which the numerator is equal to or greater than the denominator. It is greater than 1. Examples: 5/2, 17/4, 30/15, 6/6. Which of these is a mixed number? Excellent! It's 5 2/9. Remember, a mixed number is composed of a whole number and a proper fraction. It is greater than 1. Examples: 6 2/5, 2 1/4, 5 2/5, 24 3/7. Which of these sets of fractions are similar fractions? Yes, it's 4/2, 1/2, 2/2, 9/2. Remember, similar fractions or like fractions are fractions with the same denominators. Which of these sets of fractions are the similar fractions? That's right. It's 5/6, 2/9, 6/4, 23 1/5. Remember, the similar fractions or unlike fractions are fractions with different denominators. Change the set of fractions to similar fractions. 5/3, 2/5, 1/2, 4/6. To change these fractions to similar fractions, the first step is to get the LCD of the denominators 3, 5, 2, and 6. The LCD of these numbers is 30 because 3, 5, 2, and 6 divide 30 evenly. So let us have the equivalent fractions of each fraction. 5 thirds becomes 50 thirtieths. Why? Because from the LCD 30, 30 divided by 3 is 10 times 5 is 50. So we have 50 thirtieths. For 2/5, we have 12 thirtieths following the same process. For 1/2, 15 thirtieths. And for 4/6, 20 thirtieths. Remember, in changing the similar fractions to similar fractions, follow these steps. Look for the LCD, or the least common denominator of the fractions. Divide the LCD by the original denominator, then multiply to the original numerator. The answer will be the new numerator.
Let us discuss this.
Adding similar fractions. For example, we have 1/3 plus 1/3. We will just add the numerators. 1 plus 1 is 2. Then copy the common denominator, which is 3. So 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 2/3. Another example, 5/6 plus 1/6. Again, add the numerators. 5 plus 1 is 6. Copy the common denominator, 6. So 5/6 plus 1/6 equals 6/6. We already know that if the numerator and the denominator are equal, the fraction is equal to 1. So 6/6 or 1. Another example, 1 and 9/20ths plus 6 and 5/20ths. So we will add the whole number first. 1 plus 6 is 7. Then the numerators, 9 plus 5 is 14. Then we have the common denominator, which is 20. So copy 20. The answer is 7 and 14/20ths. However, 14/20ths is not yet in lowest terms, and 14 and 20 have a GCF of 2. So the final answer is 7 and 7/10ths. Why? Because 14 divided by 2 is 7, 20 divided by 2 is 10. The final answer is 7 and 7/10ths. Another example, 8 and 2/11ths plus 6 and 9/11ths. 8 plus 6 is 14. 2 plus 9 is 11. Then copy the common denominator, which is 11. I already said that if the numerator and the denominator is equal, the fraction is equal to 1. So 14 plus 1 is 15. The final answer is 15. Last example, 1 and 7/10ths plus 5 and 8/10ths. Add the whole numbers. 1 plus 5 is 6. Then add the numerators. 7 plus 8 is 15. Copy the common denominator, which is 10. So the answer is 6 and 15/10ths. However, 15/10ths is an improper fraction. So that is not the final answer yet. So let us copy the whole number 6. 15 tenths becomes 10 tenths plus 5 tenths. Okay, 10 tenths is equal to 1. So 6 plus 1 plus 5 tenths. 6 plus 1 is 7. Then copy 5 tenths. 5 tenths is not yet in lowest terms. So we will use the GCF of 5 and 10, which is 5. So we have 7 and 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So the final answer is 7 and 1/2. Find the sum. 1/5 plus 3/5. 1/5 plus 3/5. Add the numerators. 1 plus 3 is 4. Then copy the common denominator 5. So 1/5 plus 3/5 equals 4/5. Subtracting similar fractions. Let us have an example. 5 tenths minus 2 tenths. Just like how we add similar fractions, subtract the numerators. 5 minus 2 is 3, then copy the common denominator, which is 10. So 5 tenths minus 2 tenths is 3 tenths. Another example, 6 and 2/5 minus 1 and 1/5. Let us have first the whole numbers. 6 minus 1 is 5. 2 minus 1 for the numerators is 1. Then copy the common denominator, which is 5. 6 and 2/5 minus 1 and 1/5 is 5 and 1/5. Another example, we have 8 and 2/3 minus 7 and 1/3. Again, let us start with the whole number. 8 minus 7 is 1. Then 2 minus 1 is 1. Copy the common denominator, which is 3. 8 and 2/3 minus 7 and 1/3 is 1 and 1/3. Another example. This is with regrouping already. 5 and 1/8 minus 3 and 3/8. We can see that the numerators are 1 and 3, and we cannot subtract 3 from 1 because 3 is greater than 1. We are going to regroup. We will decrease 1 from 5, so we have 4. The one that we decreased is here. So 4 plus 1 is just 5. Then the 1/8. Just copy the 1/8. Minus 3 and 3/8. Then copy 4. We know that 1, or if the numerator and the denominator are equal, it is equal to 1. So let us have 1 equals 8/8. Why 8? So that we can have similar fractions because all the denominators are 8. So we have 4 plus 8/8 plus 1/8. So we just copied 4. 1 became 8/8 and copy 1/8 minus 3 and 3/8. Then copy 4 again. Then add 8 plus 1 is 9. Then copy the common denominator, which is 8. So 5 and 1/8 here, 5 and 1/8 is just the same as 4 and 9/8. We just regrouped. Then copy again minus 3 and 3/8. We already can subtract 9 and 3, or we can subtract 3 from 9. So 4 minus 3 is 1. 9 minus 3 is 6. Then copy 8. We can see that 6/8 is not yet in lowest terms. So we have the GCF, which is 2. So 1 and 3/4, because 6 divided by 2 is 3, 8 divided by 2 is 4. Find the difference. 7/10 minus 4/10. Subtract the numerators. 7 minus 4 is 3. Copy the common denominator, which is 10. 7/10 minus 4/10 equals 3/10. Remember, in adding or subtracting similar fractions, add or subtract the numerators. Copy the common denominator. Simplify the final answer. How to add the similar fractions? Let's have an example. 1/2 plus 1/3. We notice that the denominators of these two fractions are different. They are dissimilar fractions. What we are going to do is to make or to change them into similar fractions first before adding. Because we cannot add two different or two dissimilar fractions. Two fractions with different denominators. So the the LCD of 2 and 3 is 6. So how do we get the first numerator? 6 divided by 2 is 3, times 1 is 3. Then for the next fraction, 6 divided by 3 is 2, times 1 is 2. So 3 plus 2 is 5. Then copy the common denominator, which is 6. The final answer is 5/6. Second example. 1/5 plus 3/10. The LCD of 5 and 10 is 10. How do we get the first numerator? Like what we did in the first example, 10 divided by 5 is 2, times 1 is 2. For the next fraction, 10 divided by 10 is 1, times 3 is 3. We can add now because they are already similar. 2 plus 3 is 5. Copy the common denominator, 10. However, 5/10 is not in lowest terms yet. So we will get the GCF of 5 and 10, which is 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. The final answer is 1/2. Next example, 30 and 1/6 plus 4 and 3/4. Let us copy 30 and 4. We copy first the whole numbers. The LCD of 6 and 4 is 12. So 12 divided by 6 is 2, times 1 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3, times 3 is 9. We already have the same denominator, so we can add. 30 plus 4 is 34. 2 plus 9 is 11. Copy the common denominator, 12. So the final answer is 34 and 11/12. Find the sum. 8/11 minus 2/3. 8/11 and 2/3 are dissimilar fractions. So we will get first the LCD. The least common multiple or the least common denominator is 33. So 33 divided by 11 is 3, times 8 is 24. For the second fraction, 33 divided by 3 is 11, times 2 is 22. 24 minus 22 is 2. Then copy the common denominator, 33. The final answer is 2/33 or 2/33. subtracting dissimilar fractions. Let us have an example. 1/2 minus 1/3. We can see that the denominators are not the same. So we should get first the LCD of 2 and 3. The LCD of 2 and 3 is 6. So we will put 6 as their denominators. Then, how do we get the numerators? We will divide 6 by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Then multiply to the numerator 1. So 3 times 1 is 3. Let us do that also to the other fraction. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Then times 1 is 2. We can observe that we already have similar fractions. We already discussed changing the similar fractions to similar fractions in our past videos. Since we already have similar fractions, 3/6 minus 2/6, we can already subtract 3 minus 2 is 1, then copy the common denominator. So the final answer is 1/6. Another example, 3/4 minus 3/8. We also have unlike denominators or different denominators. 3/4 and 3/8 are dissimilar fractions. So we will still get the LCD of 4 and 8. The least common denominator of 4, the least common multiple of 4 and 8 is 8. By the way, kids, LCD and LCM are just the same. We just use LCD if it is already in fraction. So 8 divided by 4 is 2 times 3 is 6. For the other fraction, 8 divided by 8 is 1 times 3 is 3. So we already have similar fractions, so we can subtract already. 6 minus 3 is 3, then copy the common denominator 8. The final answer is 3/8. Last example. We have 16 and 3/9 minus 10 and 2/5. So we copy 16 and 10. 3/9 and 2/5 also are dissimilar fractions. So we should get the least common denominator of 9 and 5, which is 45. So 45 divided by 9 is 5, times 3 is 15. For the next fraction, 45 divided by 5 is 9, times 2 is 18. However, 15/45 is less than 18/45. What are we going to do? We will decrease 16 by 1. So we have 15. And the one that we have decreased from 16 became 45/45. So we have 45/45 plus 15/45 is 60/45. One shortcut method of doing this, as long as you already know how to get 60/45, we can have, or we can add 15 and 45. 15 plus 45 is 60. So we have the new numerator, which is 60. Again, we add the numerator 15 to the denominator 45, so we have 60. Then copy the denominator 45. Minus, we'll just copy 10 and 18/45. So we already have 60/45 here, which is greater than 18/45. So we can subtract already. The answer is 5 and 42/45. Why? 15 minus 10 is 5. 60 minus 18 is 42. Then copy the common denominator 45. But 5 and 42/45 is not yet in lowest terms. Using the divisibility rule by 3, we know that 42 is divisible by 3 because 4 plus 2 is 6, which is divisible by 3. And 45, for 45, 4 plus 5 is 9, which is also divisible by 3. So 42 and 45 is divisible by 3. The GCF of 42 and 45 is 3. So the final answer is 5, and 42 divided by 3 is 14. 45 divided by 3 is 15. The final answer is 5 and 14 fifteenths. Find the difference. 6 and 1/5 minus 2 and 1/2. 6 and 1/5 and 2 and 1/2 are dissimilar fractions or dissimilar mixed numbers. So we will get first the LCD of 5 and 2, or LCD of 1/5 and 1/2, which is 10. We copy 6 and 2. So 10 divided by 5 is 2 times 1 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5 times 1 is 5. We already have 6 and 2/10 minus 2 and 5/10. We will get 1 from 6, so we have 5. Then the one that we got from 6 became 10/10. 10/10 plus this 2/10 is 12/10. So 6 and 2/10 becomes 5 and 12/10. We can subtract already 2 and 5/10 from this. 5 and 12/10 minus 2 and 5/10. So we will start with the whole number. 5 minus 2 is 3. 12 minus 5 is 7. Then copy the common denominator 10. The final answer is 3 and 7/10. Remember, in adding or subtracting dissimilar fractions, change the dissimilar fractions to similar fractions. Add or subtract the numerators. Copy the common denominator. Simplify the final answer.
Let us answer this.
Find the sum. Find the difference.
You did great!
Wow, you did a very good job. See you in our next lessons.